Welcome to the Archive Network. I'm Aurelius, and with me, as always, Malik. We curate the Origin Archive. Today, we open a new file. 3M Malik, you've had this one on your desk for a while. The industrial dawn of the 20th century roared with an insatiable hunger. Factories across America churned, railway lines clawed across the continent. The relentless demand for minerals was palpable. Abrasives became the silent workhorses fueling this growth. The competition was fierce, driven by the quest for the hardest minerals to meet industry needs. This is what empires do.
But, Aurelius, it wasn't just about the minerals. It was about the people behind those factories. Workers toiling day and night, often in dangerous conditions, pushed by the relentless demands of industry. Each one has a story, a family waiting for them at home, and dreams that get overshadowed by the hunger for progress. We can't forget the human cost of this industrial boom. Their struggles and resilience shape our history, and they deserve to be heard.
Picture the sprawling workshops of early 20th century America. The rhythmic clang of steel echoed through the air. You could hear the hiss of steam rising, a symphony of industry. The sharp scent of fresh-cut timber mingled with the tang of hot metal. Every burgeoning industry demanded precision and durability. The quest for the hardest minerals intensified as competition grew fierce. It became a relentless game of survival, with fortunes hanging in the balance. This was where empires began to rise and fall.
And yet, behind that vivid imagery lies another narrative we can't ignore. Those workshops were often filled with unrecognized labor, the unnamed heroes who made everything possible. The workers, facing grueling conditions day in and day out, poured their hearts into the work. Their efforts are too often overlooked. We need to remember their contributions, the sacrifices they made, and the heavy toll they paid for these industrial dreams that so many of us benefit from today.
In 1902, a bold venture emerged along Minnesota's North Shore. Close to the shimmering expanse of Lake Superior, the small town of Two Harbors became a hotspot for mineral exploration. 5 local visionaries, driven by ambition and the allure of wealth, sought their fortunes in corundum, a mineral thought to rival diamonds in hardness. They believed that beneath the surface lay untold riches waiting to be uncovered. Their quest was not just for wealth. It was a gamble that could change their lives forever.
But Aurelius, let's not romanticize their ambitions. Sure, they had big dreams, but the initial geological assessments were overly optimistic. Just a classic case of wishful thinking. Those 5 visionaries might have been blinded by their own greed and hope. Their dreams were built on shaky assumptions, not solid foundations. And as we'd soon discover, the reality was harsh and unforgiving. It wasn't just numbers on a page. People's lives were at stake, and that made it all the more tragic.
Their initial investment of $10,000 was substantial for the era. It was a bold gamble on their future, one that showed their ambition. They envisioned a vertically integrated empire, one that could extract and refine corundum for industry. The promise glittered like gold, but reality would soon prove to be a harsh mistress. We often forget that empires are built on dreams, but they can crumble just as quickly when those dreams meet the unforgiving ground of reality.
And that promise quickly unraveled. The earth offered a cruel deception. What they believed to be corundum turned out to be anorthosite, a far less effective mineral. Imagine the disappointment on their faces as they realized their dreams were crumbling. This misidentification was a devastating blow to their ambitions. The hopes of wealth and prosperity faded fast, replaced by a flood of complaints from manufacturers who were counting on them. It wasn't just business. It was their lives at stake.
The harsh reality struck like a miner's pickaxe against barren rock. Returns and rejections piled up, suffocating potential revenue. Two Harbors, which once stood as a beacon of hope, devolved into a logistical nightmare. We watched as debt mounted, eroding the foundation of what could have been. By 1905, the company was teetering on the brink of collapse, a clear reminder of how quickly fortunes can shift in the relentless march of industry and ambition.
This wasn't just a business failure. It was a human tragedy that affected real lives. The founders were staring down the barrel of bankruptcy, watching their dreams evaporate right before their eyes. They desperately cast about for a lifeline, and that lifeline came in the form of Lucius P. Ordway's investment. But it wasn't without a cost. They had to abandon their mine, and that's a harsh reminder of how quickly fortunes can shift, leaving people in despair.
Ordway's $20,000 investment secured him controlling interest in the company. It was a decisive move that saved them from ruin, no doubt about it. In 1905, they relocated to Duluth, drawn by the promise of better access to ports and railways. This shift was strategic, aimed at positioning themselves for growth. However, as any seasoned investor knows, the road ahead was still lined with obstacles. Competition was fierce, and they had to adapt quickly to survive in this evolving landscape.
Relocating didn't guarantee success. They moved again to St. Paul in 1910, hoping to tap into new markets and find skilled labor. Edgar B. Uba and William L. McKnight came in with fresh ideas, trying to spark something new. But the old problems lingered. The dream of mining was fading, replaced by a vision that looked different altogether. It wasn't just about business anymore. It was about survival, about finding a way forward in a changing world.
By 1909, we saw the Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing Company launching its first major product, 3M Mite Abrasive Cloth. It was a bold move, considering the company had just come off a failed mining venture. But this was a new beginning, a chance to innovate. They turned their attention to manufacturing, and it set the stage for what would become a remarkable ascent in the industry. Sometimes, failure is just a step along the path to greatness.
And that's where we leave it for now. Part of 5. 3M is far from done. If you're new here, we're Aurelius and Malik, curators of the Origin Archive, part of the Archive Network. Part 2 drops soon.